Hey, welcome back. Today I want to address a misconception that most of the church has. Recently I was perusing through the internet and I ran across an article from a pastor named Ted Haggard. Now the name Ted Haggard may be familiar with some of you may mean nothing, but he was kind of a big wig in the evangelical ministry. I think he was the head of the United American Evangelical Association, something like that. I don't really recall, but he was kind of a big wig and rubbed elbows with leading politicians and stuff like that, representing the Christian right. And he had a very visible public fall involving drugs and sexual improprieties and stuff like that. But he's since recovered and has a ministry in Colorado Springs. Anyway, the point that I'm bringing up is in his article, he is friends with somebody that went to church where Smith Wigglesworth went to church. And if you don't know who Smith Wigglesworth is, he was a evangelist healer, had a tremendous ministry and some really noteworthy healings. He had his own unique style. He would punch people in the stomach sometimes, and a lot of really cool miracles happened during his ministry. Now this was back in the 1920s, so quite a while ago. But it turns out that he was accused of some improper behavior by a couple separate women, and the ministry that he was affiliated with at the time, which was the Pentecostal Missions Union, decided that he should step down and kind of step out of ministry and spend some time reflecting and repenting and stuff like that. And they kind of came to a disagreement. You know, he repented. He said that God has forgiven him and that he wanted to carry on with the ministry because it was at the height of his ministry. He was getting called to go all kinds of places and do stuff. And so they had a disagreement, and they asked for his resignation, and he basically just went his separate ways. That got me thinking of how many people that head up ministries, particularly in the healing realm, are plagued with scandal of some nature. And it seems like a lot of them is either sexual in nature or money. There's some kind of, they're got some scam they're working or whatever like that. And so the tendency is to discount everything that minister's ever done because of their improprieties, whatever they may be. And I'm not trying to justify them. But what I'm going to say is going to be controversial because most of the church would disagree. But God is more concerned about the people being ministered to getting the things that he wants to give them than the position or the holiness, if you will, or the correctness of their doctrine of the person doing the ministering. In this case, was Smith Wigglesworth or Ted Haggard or Amy Semple McPherson or Catherine Kuhlman, any of these big names have kind of been plagued with scandal. In the church, there is that thinking that in order for God to use you, you have got to have all your ducks in a row. You got to be living holy and sanctified, and that is simply not the case. God has used plenty of flawed people to do things. He's really, to be honest, looking for someone willing to do the things he's asking. Now, that doesn't mean that he doesn't care about sin in somebody's life. He's a big fan of having ducks in a row. But he works with you with grace and mercy, and he will deal with you and your sin particular to you, but he will still work through you for the love and the need of the people that you're ministering to. I was ordained under JGLM, which is John G. Lake Ministries, and the head overseer is Curry Blake. And when Curry was first getting going in his ministry, starting to see some success, starting to see healings on a consistent basis, he was kind of taken aback because he had sin in his life that he knew about. I don't know what the nature of that sin was, but and this is from his own words, so I'm not telling stories on Curry. But there was a point where he basically got with God and just said, you know, God, I have sin in my life. How am I able to heal these people? And basically that's what God told him was, I love these people and I will deal with your sin later, but now I want to minister to these people. They need what I want to give them, and that is consistently the case. When you really examine people's lives, particularly people that claim to be working for God that have taken a vow of celibacy for some reason, those tend to never go well in the long run. I'm not saying there aren't some people that God has called to that, and it's not even particular just to Christianity. Islam and Buddhism both have clerics that have taken vows of celibacy but then regularly sodomize young boys. So, I know we have that scandal with the Catholic priests and stuff like that, and even in the Protestant denominations. So that's not particular to any one religion. So the point of this video that I just want to make is for you to know that God is just looking for somebody to be willing to be a conduit of His love to the people that He loves. And it doesn't require that you be perfect. It just requires that you'll be willing. He will work with you according to His grace and mercy and love to work out and deliver you from the sin in your life. But if you're trying to wait for your life to be perfect and sanctified and holy and all the religious stuff that you think you have to do in order to be used by God, I'm telling you right now, don't bother, because it may never happen. I'm not saying there aren't some saints that are walking holy lives. I'm saying God is just looking for people to be willing to do the things He asks. That's the simple truth. But it's a truth that you won't see demonstrated in much of the church for whatever reasons I could elaborate on for a good while, and I'm not going to. I just wanted to get that out right now and let you know, just be willing and God will use you. So I hope this helps and clears things up. Be blessed.